My friend, the journey to abundance does not begin with money in your pocket, but with vision in your heart. You see, God does not prepare your bank account before He prepares your character. The greatest fortunes are not built in banks. They are built in the mind and the spirit first. And when heaven is getting ready to trust you with more, there will always be signs, undeniable divine indicators, that your season of increase is near. Today, we are going to uncover those signs so you will never miss your moment again. Are you ready to see what God has been preparing for you all along? The divine blueprint for kingdom wealth. It's not just about money. My friend, it's about understanding God's original design for abundance in your life. You see, before a builder lays a single brick, before the foundation is poured, there must be a blueprint, a clear, intentional design. In the same way, God has already drawn the plans for your prosperity. And I'm not talking about quick success or temporary riches. I'm talking about a wealth that cannot be shaken, a wealth that is rooted in purpose, integrity, and eternal impact. From the very beginning, the Creator gave humanity dominion, authority, and the ability to multiply. That wasn't just for survival, it was for thriving, for ruling over what He entrusted to us. Yet here's the problem. Many people are trying to build wealth without the original design. They're chasing money without understanding mission. And when you don't have the blueprint, you waste time, energy, and resources on things that will never last. Now listen closely. The divine blueprint always starts inside you, not outside you. God works on your identity before He releases your inheritance. He teaches you how to manage little before He gives you much. That's why you may feel like you're in a season of stretching right now, a season where you're being taught discipline, faith, and stewardship. This is not a delay, it's construction. God is shaping you into the kind of person who can handle the weight of the blessing without being crushed by it. And here's something you must understand. The divine blueprint for wealth is never selfish. It's not about you having more so you can boast more. It's about you having more so you can serve more, give more, and influence more for the kingdom. That's why He aligns your vision with His vision. That's why He refines your motives before He releases resources. Because wealth without wisdom becomes a curse, but wealth built on God's plan becomes a legacy. So let me ask you, have you studied your blueprint? Do you even know the design God has for your life? Because when you know it, you stop chasing everything and you start building the one thing you were born to do. You stop asking, how can I get rich? And you start asking, how can I fulfill my assignment? And here's the mystery. When you pursue your assignment, wealth begins to pursue you. But there's more, because once you understand the divine blueprint, you'll start to notice something powerful, signals from heaven that your preparation is leading to promotion. And that takes us straight into the next sign, a sign that could be happening to you right now. Are you ready for it? Recognizing heaven's signals for your financial destiny, my friend, God never moves in silence when it comes to His children's purpose. He is a communicating God. He is a revealing God. And when He is preparing to shift you into a new season of abundance, there will be signs, clear, divine signals that something in the atmosphere of your life is changing. The problem is, too many people miss them because they're looking for the wrong indicators. They expect an immediate deposit in their bank account, when in reality, God is depositing something much greater. Direction, clarity, and opportunity. You see, heaven's signals are not always loud, but they are always precise. They might come in the form of new relationships that suddenly appear in your life. They might show up as an unusual burden or passion for a cause you've never cared about before. They might be that persistent idea that refuses to leave your heart, no matter how much you try to ignore it. These are not coincidences. They are whispers from God saying, I am positioning you for more. Sometimes the signal comes as a divine discontent. Have you ever been in a season where everything is working, but it still doesn't feel right? You have what you thought you wanted, but something inside you is saying, this is not the end. That's not ingratitude. My friend, that's heaven telling you there is another level. That restlessness is not punishment, it's preparation. God is loosening your roots because He is about to replant you in richer soil. And don't overlook the signal of divine pruning. There are moments when certain people, places, or habits suddenly leave your life. It can feel painful, even confusing. But understand this, when God is preparing you for wealth, He will remove anything that can't survive in the next season. Every subtraction is a preparation for multiplication. He's not taking from you. He's making room for something greater. Pay attention to the shifts in your conversations, in your circle, in your own thoughts. When your desires start to align with your divine assignment, that's a signal. When doors you never knocked on begin to open, that's a signal. When opportunities feel bigger than your current qualifications, that's a signal. Heaven is declaring, I am stretching you because I'm about to bless you. But here's the key. You must respond to the signal. Ignoring it delays the blessing, but acting on it accelerates the manifestation. The moment you discern that God is speaking, that's the moment you start aligning your actions with His instructions. And when you do, something even more powerful happens. God begins to build in you the foundation that sustains the blessing. That's our next key, and it's the one thing that separates momentary success from lasting prosperity. Shall we go there? The spiritual foundations of lasting prosperity, my friend. True wealth does not begin in the marketplace. It begins in the heart. Money is not the root of prosperity. Righteousness is. You can earn millions, but if your soul is empty, your wealth will collapse like a house built on sand. That's why God never gives lasting abundance without first establishing spiritual foundations. If you want the blessing to remain, you must first be anchored in principles that never change. Think about a building. The taller it is, the deeper its foundation must be. The same is true with your life. The higher God plans to lift you, the deeper He will dig into your character, your values, and your faith. Sometimes this digging feels uncomfortable. It exposes weaknesses you didn't know you had. It challenges habits you've grown used to. But remember, God is not trying to break you. He is trying to build you, strong enough to handle what He is about to place in your hands. One of these foundations is integrity. Wealth without integrity becomes a snare, but wealth with integrity becomes a testimony. God will test you with small responsibilities to see if you can be trusted with greater ones. Will you be honest when no one is watching? Will you honor your word even when it costs you? These are not just moral questions. They are spiritual qualifications for abundance. Another foundation is generosity. The kingdom operates on the law of sowing and reaping. If your hand is always closed, nothing can flow through it. God blesses you to make you a blessing. And when you become a channel of His provision, He can trust you with more. Generosity is not measured by the amount you give, but by the heart with which you give it. Then there is the foundation of faith. Without it, you will not survive the tests that come with wealth, because prosperity is not just about receiving. It's about enduring seasons when the promise seems delayed. Can you keep believing when you see no evidence? Can you hold on to the vision when circumstances are screaming otherwise? Faith is the anchor that keeps your spirit steady until the harvest arrives. These spiritual foundations are not optional. They are the very ground on which your prosperity will stand. And here's the truth. If you skip this stage, you may still achieve temporary success, but it will not last. The The storms of life will reveal the strength of your foundation. And once God sees your foundation is solid, He moves you into a powerful next stage, the one where vision begins to open doors that money itself could never open. Do you want to know how that works? How vision unlocks your path to abundance? My friend, money follows vision, not the other way around. If you are chasing money, you will always be running. But if you pursue vision, money will find you. Vision is the picture of your purpose. It is the divine photograph of your future that God placed in your spirit before you were even born. Without it, life becomes a cycle of activity without progress. With it, life becomes a journey of intentional steps toward a clear destination. Vision gives your life direction. It tells you where you are going and why you are going there. It acts like a compass guiding your decisions, your relationships, your investments, even your habits. That's why God will always give you vision before He gives you provision. Because if you don't know where you're going, you will misuse what you're given. The danger is, too many people try to borrow someone else's vision. They see another person's success and attempt to duplicate it. But hear me, your vision is unique to you. It is custom, designed for your gifts, your calling, and your assignment. When you try to live out someone else's vision, you may gain money, but you will lose meaning. Real abundance flows when you are in alignment with the purpose God gave you, not the one you copied. Vision also attracts resources. People, opportunities, and even finances are drawn to clarity. When you can articulate your vision with confidence, you inspire others to believe in it and often to invest in it. That's why the clearer your vision, the easier it becomes to identify which doors to walk through and which ones to close. Without vision, every door looks like an opportunity. With vision, you know which ones lead to destiny and which ones lead to distraction. But vision does more than guide and attract. It sustains you. On the journey to abundance, there will be delays, opposition, and moments when nothing seems to be happening. Vision keeps you moving when everything else tells you to stop. It becomes the fuel that drives you through seasons of scarcity, knowing that the picture God showed you is worth the wait. And here's the mystery. Once you commit to the vision, provision begins to show up in unexpected ways. The right people, the right timing, and the right resources align with you. Not because you chased them, but because they were designed to meet you on the path of purpose. And when vision takes its rightful place in your life, something incredible begins to happen. Faith itself becomes your greatest currency. And my friend, that's where the next key will take us into the realm where belief turns into tangible blessings. Are you ready to see it? Faith is the currency of true wealth, my friend, in the kingdom of God. The greatest transactions are not made with dollars or gold. They are made with faith. Faith is the currency heaven recognizes. It is the medium of exchange between the invisible and the visible. Without faith, you cannot withdraw the resources God has already stored up for you. You may have talent, education, or connections, but in the kingdom economy, faith is the key that unlocks the vault. Faith is not just belief. It is belief in action. It is trusting God's word so much that you are willing to move before you see the evidence. It is walking toward a door that looks closed, expecting it to open because God said it would. And here's the truth. Faith is often most active when the situation looks impossible, because real faith does not rely on sight, it relies on trust. You see, God often tests your faith before releasing your provision. He will give you a vision so big that it scares you, so bold that it feels impossible in your current state. Why? Because He wants you to depend on Him, not on your own resources. If you could achieve it by yourself, you wouldn't need Him. But when faith becomes your currency, you begin to think differently, speak differently, and act differently. You stop asking, do I have enough money to do this? and start asking, do I have enough faith to believe for this? Faith also works like a seed. The more you plant it through your actions, the more it grows. Every step you take in obedience is a deposit into your spiritual account. And over time, those deposits produce a harvest far greater than anything money alone could buy. Faith opens doors to favor, partnerships, and opportunities that money can't purchase. It draws divine connections that no human effort could arrange. But here's something you must understand. Faith will be tested. There will be seasons when it looks like nothing is happening, when the promise feels distant, when the dream seems delayed. Those are the moments that reveal whether your faith is genuine or just convenience. If you can praise in the drought, if you can trust in the silence, then you are proving to heaven that you are ready for the rain. When faith becomes your primary currency, you stop living in fear of lack. You realize that resources may run out, but the source never does. And as long as your faith is active, your supply is secure. And once your faith is established, something else begins to happen. God starts preparing you for the season where your capacity must grow before the blessing arrives. That's the next step, and it could be the very thing that determines how much you can truly carry. Shall we go there? The power of preparation before promotion, my friend. God will never promote you beyond the level of your preparation. Blessings are not random, they are assignments. And with every assignment comes responsibility. If you are not prepared, the very thing meant to bless you can break you. That's why before God elevates you, He equips you. Before He opens the door, He strengthens the one who will walk through it. Preparation is proof that you value what you are asking for. You can pray for a bigger platform, but are you developing the skills to manage it? You can pray for greater resources, but are you learning how to steward what you already have? You can pray for influence, but are you building the character to handle it? Many people fail, not because they didn't receive the blessing, but because they weren't ready for it when it came. Think about David. He was anointed as king long before he wore the crown. But instead of rushing to the throne, he spent years in the fields, tending sheep, fighting lions and bears, learning leadership in the hidden places. Those hidden years were not wasted. They were necessary. They were shaping him into a man who could carry the weight of the crown without losing his soul. Preparation also happens in the unseen areas of your life. God will work on your patience, your discipline, your faithfulness, and your humility. He will put you in situations that stretch your capacity, moments where you have to solve problems with limited resources, where you have to lead without recognition, where you have to serve without applause. These moments may feel insignificant, but they are building the muscles you will need for the next level. And here's something you must understand. Preparation time is never wasted time. In fact, the longer the preparation, the greater the promotion. God knows exactly what you will face in your next season, and He will not release you into it until you have the strength, wisdom, and resilience to handle it. Promotion without preparation is a setup for failure, but promotion after preparation is a setup for legacy. So, if you feel like you're in a holding pattern, don't be discouraged. You're not stuck, you're in training. Every skill you're learning now, every challenge you're facing now, every test you're passing now, they are all part of heaven's strategy to prepare you for what's coming. And once that preparation is complete, God will align you with something extraordinary. Your purpose will meet His provision in a way that changes everything. And that, my friend, leads us straight into the next key, the moment when alignment becomes the magnet for your resources. Shall we step into it? Aligning your purpose with God's provision. My friend, provision always follows purpose. God is not obligated to fund your personal ambitions, but He will always resource His divine assignments. If what you are pursuing is in alignment with what He has called you to do, the supply is guaranteed. That's why the most important question you can ask yourself is not, what do I want? But what was I created for? Because when you find your why, you also find your supply. You see, purpose is the divine assignment you were sent to earth to fulfill. It's the reason you were born, the problem you were designed to solve, the gift you were meant to release. And here's the truth. Your purpose is already fully funded. Every resource, every relationship, every opportunity you will ever need to accomplish it has already been prepared in advance. But they are locked inside the path of obedience. If you walk in your own plan, you may struggle. If you walk in His plan, you will find that the provision was waiting for you all along. This is why so many people experience frustration. They are chasing provision without clarifying their purpose. They jump from one idea to another, one job to another, one opportunity to another, trying to find where the blessing is. But the blessing is not in the place, it's in the assignment. When your steps align with your calling, favor begins to flow like a river. People you've never met will open doors for you. Resources you never imagined will come into your hands. Not because you manipulated them, but because you were in the right position for heaven to release them. Alignment also brings peace. When you are in purpose, you stop striving and start flowing. You are no longer driven by the fear of lack because you understand that the one who sent you will sustain you. You don't have to fight for every opportunity because opportunities begin to find you. This doesn't mean there won't be challenges. It means that even in the challenges, the provision will meet you where you are. But here's the key. Alignment requires surrender. You can't ask God to fund what He never assigned. You have to be willing to lay down your own agenda and embrace His. And yes, sometimes that means letting go of something good so you can step into something great. When your purpose and His provision collide, you step into a realm where lack no longer controls your decisions. And once you enter that realm, you are ready for the final stage, the place where you no longer just live in abundance, but you overflow in every area of life. That's the next key, and it's the one that will transform your increase into impact. Shall we go there? Living in overflow, spirit, soul, and resources, my friend. God's ultimate goal is not just to give you enough. It is to bring you to a place where you have more than enough. Not so you can boast, not so you can simply live in comfort, but so that you can become a channel through which His blessings flow to others. Overflow is when the cup is not just full, it is running over. It is when your spirit is so alive, your soul is so anchored, and your resources are so abundant that you cannot contain it all. But here's the truth. Overflow is not accidental. It is the result of walking in divine order, applying kingdom principles, and remaining faithful through every stage of preparation. When your spirit is aligned with God, your mind renewed by His truth, and your hands diligent in your work, you position yourself for an unstoppable flow. And this flow is not just about finances. It touches every area of your life. Peace flows, joy flows, wisdom flows, influence flows. Overflow means you can respond to a need without fear of lack. It means you can bless others without checking your own supply. It means you live with a confidence that no matter what the economy does, no matter what happens in the world, your source is unshakable. That's why overflow is a testimony. It tells the world that God's kingdom is real, His word is true, and His promises never fail. But don't miss this. Overflow is also a responsibility. When God blesses you beyond your own needs, it is not so you can hoard it. It is so you can distribute it. You become an ambassador of His generosity. Your life becomes a storehouse for others. And the more you pour out, the more He pours in. That's why some people never run dry. Because they have learned the secret Keep the river flowing. And remember, overflow starts on the inside before it manifests on the outside. If your spirit is dry, your heart bitter, or your mind fearful, no amount of money will change your life. But when your inner life is overflowing with faith, hope, and love, your outer life will eventually reflect it. True wealth begins within and then spreads without. So my friend, this is where God wants to take you. From enough to more than enough, from survival to influence, from just being blessed to becoming a blessing. And when you step into overflow, you stop living for yourself and start living for impact. Now, as you've heard these keys, the question is no longer, will God do it? But will I prepare myself to receive it? Because your season of abundance is not ahead of you. It's waiting for you to step into alignment. And when you do, the overflow will begin. And once it begins, nothing and no one will be able to stop it.